You're listening to Analyser, where the response takes apart their song and piece by piece tell the story of how it was made. The Response are a No Award-winning duo from Christchurch, New Zealand, made up of Andrew and Victoria Knopp. Their fourth album, Escaping This Cold Rotation, was released at the end of 2019 to parental acclaim. In this episode, Andrew breaks down their song, These Demos Are Haunting Me.
Hey, this is Andy from The Response, and I'll be breaking down our song, These Demos Are Haunting Me. I do most of my writing in the morning before having breakfast and heading off to work, and this song is no different. I've been playing guitar for a while now, and I was getting frustrated with the same old ideas coming out when I was writing on that instrument. So at this time, I had this kind of unwritten rule that song ideas I came up with had to start with a keyboard rather than guitar. I do have a little keyboard somewhere at home, but I'm in the habit now of playing piano parts on the computer keyboard keys. It's kind of awkward and you only get one octave, but I think it also makes you play differently. It helps you get away from playing things like you always would on a real piano. I love the chord progression in this song. It's just falling down and down, always moving, and then in the chorus it switches direction and it's ascending. I feel like it really helps tell its own story within the song. Percussion plays a huge role in the response. With Vic playing all the parts on the SPD drum pads, you're limited to 9 pads, including any loop triggers she's going to be playing, so we have to be very calculated in how we approach the drum parts. We always try to keep our live show in mind when we're writing. We really have to think about what is physically possible to play on that thing, while she's also playing bass with one foot. So it's nice for us to sort out all the percussion parts early on so that the foundation is something that makes sense for the response. If I remember correctly, I think I came up with the song title before I wrote the rest of the lyrics. I thought that the fact the word demos and demons being just one letter apart was really funny and definitely rings true sometimes. I mean, we're always writing music and we have an endless backlog of songs. Like if we're ever going on a road trip or something, we'll put on our playlist of hours of unreleased demos. We're always trying to figure out what our next step should be as artists. And it's a never-ending battle I imagine most artists have with themselves. It's a question that gets even more complicated when you pair it with the desire to make music your career. I've been loving playing with textures, particularly in transitions between different parts of a song. So I'll cut up parts of vocals or guitars and put them through various effects to warp them into something else. Sometimes they're so unrecognizable I have no idea how I made the sounds that I've come up with. In this track I put the vocal through a harmonizer and it spat out a weird harmony that ended up growing on us.
What is it costing me?
It's just another good example of getting away from your normal habits to come up with something surprising. I mentioned that I wanted to try to get away from using guitar as a writing tool, but when it came to putting guitar into the track, I really wanted to mess with the sound, so it's not a guitar in the traditional sense. This one's going through a filter to give it that kind of funky stab that helps punctuate the chords. Something that we often play with, but don't often end up using, is chopping up vocals and sampling them in strange orders. It's a lot of fun to play with, but it doesn't usually sound very good, or it gets a bit too EDM, which doesn't really suit our songs. But during one of our sound design sessions, we were playing with the vocal and put it through the same kick snare rhythmic pattern, and it came out like this, which we thought sounded pretty cool. It was a great way to add another dimension to the end of the song. In this song there's a line, while dreaming's free, I'm nervous to ask, what is it costing me? When you're growing up, I feel like recent generations have had this follow your dreams at any cost idea drilled into them through every Disney movie or kids TV show. And that's great. I mean, a lot of people need that encouragement and permission. But what they don't tell you is 99 out of 100 of you who follow your dreams are probably not going to be able to do what you love for a living. It's a sobering fact that you don't really learn till you're older, and it can really mess with how you see yourself and the role you play in the world. Fortunately, whether it's our full-time job or not, we find music super fulfilling and couldn't imagine it not being a huge part of our daily lives. It's easy to whine about reality sometimes, but what we get to do is really just so cool.
And now, here's These Demos Are Haunting Me by The Response.